Today, I'm going to give you the exact top of funnel ad strategy to scale your coaching or info offer. Keep in mind that the way that this is structured is primarily for follow ads to get more people into your ecosystem. However, if you want, you can take these ads and turn them into direct offer ads. So people will go directly from seeing the ad to actually applying for your offer or going to a checkout page if that's how you have it set up. But my suggestion would always be to get people to follow you, especially if it's their first time seeing your face on Instagram. And then from there, nurturing them with your own organic content and your story sequences. By the end of this video, I'll give you 3 video script outlines that you can just take and run with, as well as my go-to strategy for running carousel picture ads as well as story ads. So the first mistake that most coaches or info offer owners make is they try to sell people way too early. It's the first time they see you through your ad, and if you try to just put an offer in front of them, chances are they're not going to bite. Especially these days, there's so many people competing on value. It's really hard to just sell somebody off the bat, and asking for a follow is like a much easier ask. And you also earn the opportunity to sell them on the back end through your organic content and your story sequences. Like I just said, running follower ads for people who don't follow you yet is probably the best way to go. So the purpose of top of funnel ads, at least the way that we run it, is they're not designed to sell. They attract the right kind of people and repel the wrong ones. You're going to see that in all of the scripts that I give you. The idea is to use the first 3 seconds to get the right kind of people to stay and the wrong people to just swipe on to the next video. You have 2 primary goals, the first one being to attract, and the second one is to qualify people. This will ultimately filter your audience and only bring you the most qualified people following your account. And it also sets you up perfectly for a profitable retargeting strategy, which will come at a later stage. But today's video is only about top of funnel. So if you want to see my stuff about retargeting ads, then I made a video about that. You can find that on my channel. You should be getting feedback and comments like this on your top of funnel ads because it shows that you're piquing people's curiosity and getting them interested about what you have to say, not selling them on anything yet. So the first script template is going to be a case study script because leading with proof is the best way for people to actually believe what you're saying in your videos. So I definitely recommend starting there. And the way it works is you say the person that you helped, which helps qualify the right kind of people to continue watching, and explain the transformation that you made for them in a certain amount of time frame, because time is a huge factor in people believing that you're actually able to do what you can do. Because if a personal trainer were to tell you he'll get you fit in 5 years, that's not very convincing. But if he says that he's managed to help somebody lose 50 pounds across 3 months, that's a lot more attractive because people don't want to wait years for the results. They want them immediately. You also want to mention the pain points that people can avoid by doing this, because oftentimes a lot of people intuitively know what they need to do, but they just don't want to go through all the struggles and all the hoops of doing things. So in the case of fitness coaches, which is a very easy example, you can talk about how they don't have to go on these crazy restrictive diets that are actually hard for them to follow through, but rather you allow them to eat certain things that they thought they couldn't eat. And with your specific plan, you're able to help them get there without having to struggle, because in their mind, fasting or eating a ketogenic diet or whatever it is not something that they want to do. This will ultimately help you isolate who this is for, because if you mention the kind of person that you helped in the certain amount of time frame without doing a thing that they thought they needed to do, then that person who is interested in that will continue watching the video. Then at the very end, you want to have a soft CTA to follow so that they can get more information. And you can even say, like, I'll reach out to you to see how I can help you. So that way, when somebody follows you, you can either do it yourself or you can get your setter or a ManyChat automation to start the conversation, to start speaking to these people privately in the DMs. And you'd be surprised how much people actually respect you if you actually take the time to speak to them after they follow you, because you're giving them one-to-one attention, whereas in your videos, they know that you're speaking to more than just one person. So if you actually spend the time to send these people voice messages and stuff like that, this will definitely help you convince them that you're the right person to help them. And ultimately, the purpose of these ads is to attract the right kind of people who are looking for a transformation. So you can see an example of an ad that I'm currently running. This is actually an organic post that I've already made, which I have pinned up on my Instagram profile. And I'm running this as an ad because it works pretty well. It shows that I know what I'm talking about, and I lead with proof by showing the actual results that we got for our client. The only limitation when you're running organic ads is you don't have the opportunity to split test hooks the same way you would if you were to just film the same creative body and CTA, but with like multiple different hooks. So this one doesn't really have that eye attention grabbing hook in the same way that you would if you were to structure it from the beginning. But regardless, I mentioned the result, I mentioned the time frame, and in the video I mentioned the unique mechanism and all the restrictions that we had in order to get these results. So to provide a quick outline of how this could look for somebody who's like a communication coach, it could look something like this. Jaden is a financial advisor who used to have to run to the bathroom before speaking in front of an audience, but I helped him be able to speak confidently in front of thousands of people in just 3 months without him having to spend 4 hours every single day speaking to himself in the mirror. So what this does is it highlights financial advisors who struggle with public speaking, or any corporate professional really. And it also tells them that they're able to achieve this result in just 3 months without having to do hours and hours of practice in front of a mirror. At this point, somebody who's like a university student probably would have skipped past. Somebody who doesn't work in a standard corporate environment would have skipped past, or somebody who doesn't have speaking issues obviously would skip past it. But you definitely would have attracted a select group of people who identify with the person that you mentioned in your case study to watch the entire video. And then at the very end, you can say, if you want to learn all the tactics that I use, then make sure to drop me a follow and I'll show you how. This will entice people to go onto your page and follow you so that they can eventually see all the organic content and the story sequences that you put up as well. So the next two video ad templates are things that I'm currently working on myself, but this is exactly how it's going to look. You can use this more with the direct offer type script, but I'm thinking about changing up the CTA, and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do it so that I can gain more followers and then just qualify them in the DMs afterwards. So it all kind of follows the same format where you want to make sure that you're calling out your ICP immediately, because at the end of the day, you're spending your own hard-earned money on these paid ads and you don't want them shown to the wrong kind of person. So by saying exactly who you want to watch the video at the very beginning, you're able to push away the wrong kind of viewers and only have the right kind of people watching it. You describe the exact pain point and situation that they're currently struggling with, and then you describe the result that you help them achieve. And the best way that you could do this is by throwing in another case study with just like a few sentences, or you can describe the exact process that you use to help other people like them achieve the result that you help them achieve. Then at the end, you have a soft CTA to follow, and the purpose again is to filter for the perfect ICP. I forgot to mention that the hook for these kinds of video ads would start with something like "I'm looking for," and then you would call out the ICP. So it would look something like, "I'm looking for 6 financial advisors who are struggling to speak in front of large audiences and want to have the confidence like Warren Buffett when speaking in front of people." You know that feeling when you run through your slides 93 times the night before a conference, but when it's finally time for you to speak up on stage, your mind goes blank and you have no idea what your slides are saying behind you, even though you know what you're supposed to say. The delivery wasn't perfect, but you get the idea. This description of the situation that they're in allows them to resonate and relate with it, because chances are if they're watching this kind of video and they struggle with public speaking, they're going to want to see the rest of it because they've had this exact experience before. Then you want to kind of explain the result that you help them achieve. So you can either take the path of going, "I've helped people like Adam or Tim go from blanking on stage to being able to speak in front of thousands of people in just 3 months going through my program." And we start out by helping them identify the core fears that they have whenever they step on stage. Then you kind of just describe your unique mechanism and that kind of thing. And then you follow up at the very end. And if you can, sneak a CTA around 60% of the video if you can. Otherwise, at the very end, you say, "If you want to learn more about how we help people do this, then drop me a follow." What you could also do is, since you're calling out a number of people that you want to work with, you can say, "Drop me a follow and I'll get in touch to see how we can help you." Or you can say, "Drop me a follow and I'll get in touch." This is a very soft CTA, so it gets people to drop their guard without them worrying about you selling them on anything. Then once they drop the follow, you or your setter can go in there and kind of qualify them and speak to them about their pain points privately in the DMs. The alternative, if you wanted to run a direct offer ad, would be you could just say, "If this sounds like you, then click the link below and let's get to work." This could definitely work, but like I said, getting them to drop a follow and then starting a conversation with them naturally in the DMs can work a lot better and feels a lot less salesy. And the third video ad template that works really well is like an offer breakdown teaser. So the way that this would work is you state the core problem of your ICP again. You're going to notice that the overall trend with running ads, or even just organic content really, is you always want to make sure that you're calling out the right kind of person to watch your video, because that way you have the highest chances of the right kind of people watching your video. Because if you make it too general, you might have really unqualified people interacting with your content and following your page. And while that might feel good from a vanity perspective, like you'll feel good that you get more views and more likes, you're ultimately not going to get the right kind of clients and the right kind of people that you could potentially work with. So you start out by stating the core problem of the ICP, you explain what your offer helps them achieve, and then you hint at the method without really explaining it too much, but kind of just give them like a taste of what you can help them do. This will help you create curiosity because you're explaining what you're going to do, not how you're going to do it. How you do it comes later in the form of long form videos like this one, or you can explain it privately in the DMs or through a call when they eventually book one with you. And the purpose of this is to build demand without oversharing, because nobody's going to give you the time of day to explain everything the first time they ever see you. And the whole goal of these ads, like I said before, and I'm going to say it again so that it really ingrains in your head, is to get people to follow you so that they can enter your ecosystem, and then you can continuously target them through organic content, story sequences, or even retargeting ads at a later stage. And then the CTA would be for them to follow so that they can get a better understanding of what you do. So to give you an idea of what this would look like, I'll use the same example of the financial advisor. You would start out by stating the core problem of their ICP. So, financial advisors, are you struggling of speaking in front of your clients or at any conference? Boom, there you go. So this will do two things. First, you'll get financial advisors to stay to watch the next part of the video, and then specifically target the ones that are struggling with public speaking. And then you can create curiosity by saying something like this: the next 10 weeks is where we work through all of our tactics that has allowed us to help over 50 financial advisors get over their fear of public speaking. And then at the very end, your CTA can be, if you're interested in seeing how we do this, then drop me a follow because I share everything on my page. Or you can say something like, make sure to drop me a follow because I share all of our tactics on my page. Again, what you do here is you build curiosity, you get someone to your page. If you set it up correctly, somebody will follow you, and then you have the opportunity to start that conversation with them to see if they're a potential person to work with, or you can push them to other assets or other videos that you have created where you can nurture them on autopilot. So those are the 3 winning script templates that work primarily in video format. But now I'm going to show you how you can run the same kind of ads with the same messaging through carousels and story sequences. And I'm also going to show you a couple things that no one talks about that makes all the difference in the way that these are going to perform. So Starting with carousel ads, you want to make this 4 to 8 slides maximum. If you make this like 20 slides long, nobody's going to get through to the end. So just like with every script template I shared with you, you want to have slide 1 call out your ICP, and slides 2 to 7 explain your processes, and you always have to end, this is the really important part, you always have to end each slide with a teaser for the next one. Because if you complete your point on one slide, somebody might be satisfied with the answer that they got, and they might move on to the next thing on their Instagram page, whether they're scrolling down or they just close the app or whatever it may be. But by making the last slide an intro to the next one, it makes them want to read the entire thing. And then you guessed it, the last slide is your CTA to get them to follow you. So as you can see here, I put 3 of my 8 slides carousel sequence that I'm running as ads. And obviously you can see at the very beginning, this is the result that we brought somebody in the amount of time frame with the limitations and explaining only the things that we use. So we only use short form clips and 1 lead magnet, no paid ads to help our client generate a $1.4 million sales pipeline. And you can see the last line entices somebody to read to the next one. So it says, here's how we did it. But this is nothing really special. But the way the strategy really shines is in the next slides. And I'll show you exactly how it works on slide 2. So you can see here at the very end, I made an intro to the next slide by putting it at the very bottom of this one, saying, so here's what we decided to do. Because if this wasn't here, somebody could have read this slide and been satisfied with the post, or maybe not interested to read the rest of it. But by having this here, it's almost like rehooking people throughout each slide to get them to read the next one. And in the next slide, I kind of explain exactly all the strategies that we did to help our client get this result. But I'm not going to show you the entire sequence because it's going to take too long. But you can see here, this is the final slide with the CTA. So the way this works is very simple. It's just a 1-line recap of what we did. And then we also highlight, again, the result that we brought our client. And then the CTA is here, DM me V2L, because we're running this ad from the perspective of we're looking for 5 people and we only have 4 spots left. This is a direct to offer ad, but you can run this with the CTA to follow as well. And so when you're running story ads, you want to make sure that you keep it max 3 slides, ideally under 3. I always do 2 slides because I find that that works better. But you want to use the first slide to call out your ICP as usual, second slide to show your result or build curiosity, and then the third one is a CTA. I like to just put the CTA on the second slide, but the idea with this is to disqualify the wrong people on the first slide, get them to skip onto the next story. And then the second one is to just get straight into what I want to say to them with the CTA as well. You can take the option of using the third slide as a CTA, but that's not mandatory. The main reason why we want to keep this under 3 slides, and most people don't actually know this, is you want to avoid expand friction. So when you're looking at somebody's stories on Instagram organically, like somebody that you follow or someone's page that you go to, if it's not an ad, you can see that they have tons of slides, right? You can see somebody who has like 300 slides if they want, they're going to be really small. If somebody has 5, you'll see those 5 little bars. But when you're actually running ads, there's a little feature that Meta put in, which says expand. And so the viewers of these stories are only going to be able to see the first 3 slides unless they click the little expand button. And most people don't know this. So if you wait too long to deliver your message and you make like a 10-slide story sequence in ads, chances are people aren't actually even going to see that because they don't know that they have to click the expand button. And even if they do, it's just another layer of friction that they may not do because they just can't be bothered to do it because they've never seen your face before. Like, why are they going to give you the time of day? So you want to really condense these. The good thing about story ads is it costs less to run from a CPM perspective, and you can also test like different ideas really quickly doing this because it's cheap and easier to put together. So you can do this as a pre-test before you go ahead and film your videos and kind of turn what story ad works best into a script and then go from there. So yeah, as I kind of mentioned, it's just fast and intimate awareness. It's really quick. It's kind of ADHD, and the reason why video ads work a lot better is because it's a lot more personal and takes a little bit longer than 2 slides of story sequences. They can hear your voice, they can see your face, and you can get into a little bit more detail, but this works really well for proving ideas. Ultimately, the goal with running top of funnel ads is to feed your retargeting ads at a later stage. So your top of funnel ads build a warm pool of people that are interested in what you have to say, and also people who have been exposed to you before. Because the more you ask for somebody, the more you need them to actually know you before you can like ask for money or any of that kind of stuff, because it's just weird if they've never met you before and you're dropping like a $10,000 offer on them. They're never gonna buy like that. So that's why retargeting ads are great, because they've already seen you and you can continuously show up on their feed that way. Retargeting builds familiarity, like I said, and then you use this to start conversations with people in the DMs so that you can build relationships. And then you use long form videos as well in the form of your retargeting ads, like get somebody to comment a keyword to get access to the video so they can build trust with you. And then you get them on calls so you can close clients. And then your ads will ensure that you get this proper distribution. Because if you're running top of funnel ads, you can't guarantee how many times somebody's going to see it. But if you're running retargeting ads, you could literally show up on somebody's phone 15 times a day, every single day for a whole year if you had the budget and if you had the will to do that. So the main goal of top of funnel ads is to get people onto your page, engaging with your content, ideally following you if possible, But if they don't, that's okay, because your retargeting system will pick this up at a later stage. So here's some results that I got. I got 249 followers in the last like 20-ish days running these ads. Sorry, last month. And about 50 of them are qualified followers. So I've been starting conversations and speaking to them in the DMs. You should be getting responses like this on your stories or your videos at a later stage, because it shows that you're enticing people by piquing their curiosity. This guy said, why am I sharing so much free value? I'm giving the whole playbook out. It's funny because this is actually one of my least valuable videos, let's say. It was kind of like a personal anecdote, but this is a good sign that people are interested in what you have to say, and then it allows you to start the conversation with them naturally because they just ended up coming to you. So the final takeaway is, whenever you're running top of funnel ads, you want to make sure that you get the right ICP to watch your videos by calling them out. Use case studies, because case studies are your friend, because proof is the ultimate way that you're going to be able to convince somebody that they should work with you. Use the breakdown teaser script, and also use carousels and story ads as a way for you to split test and to test ideas before you invest your time and money to making a video and editing it and doing all that kind of stuff, because that's a lot more time consuming than just putting some words up on a screen in the Twitter format. Like that one literally took me 10 minutes to make. So now I can see if that idea was a good one to turn into a video. I already turned it into video, but you get the idea. You can use this as a way for you to proof your ideas. So just as a quick reminder to always put a CTA to get people to follow you in your captions. They should always be there, because if somebody watches the video and reads the description at the same time, or if somebody just wants to quickly read the caption because they can't be bothered to watch a video, your CTA should always be there like this, so that you can ensure that people are coming onto your page, not only through the video, but also through your caption. So that's it for today's video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one to run these kinds of ads and to build out a proper funnel for your coaching or info offer, then you can use the first link in the description to book a free consultation where we'll go over what you're doing currently, where you're going wrong, and we can kind of pinpoint exactly where you need to be working on and focusing on so that you can ensure that you get the results that you want. And so yeah, thanks again for watching the video, guys, and I will see you on the next one.